Thanks for logging on to Wayne.com for another edition of Inside the Zone, talking Komets hockey with Blake Sebring of the News Sentinel. And unfortunately, we must delve into a pretty rough weekend for the Komets. 3 games on the road, a trip out west. They drop all 3, get outscored by a total of 15-4. What do you take away from this weekend? What did you see in those games or hear on the radio or talking to the guys? Did you take away?
I watched Saturday and Sunday's game, and I just didn't see a lot of guys competing. I mean, I didn't see a lot of guys that responded when they got challenged physically by either team checking them. I didn't see a lot of guys skating aggressively. I just didn't see it. It just wasn't there. I don't see anybody being a leader. There's not much aggressiveness offensively, defensively, nothing right now. And
that kind of leads into my next point, because at this point, 15-3-1. 10 points out of 8th place in their conference, 11 points so far this season. Changes. I guess that's the first thing that comes to any fan's mind when things are going badly. I know you talked to David Franke yesterday, and he said Al Sims' job is safe, but perhaps not many other people's are necessarily.
Well, how do you get rid of a coach who's won 4 titles the last 4 years he's been here? That would be ridiculously stupid. Now, does that mean it may not happen later? You know, I really doubt it, but you never know if the things keep going. I think there's going to be some massive changes this week. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw 3-4 guys waived or try to trade them, or nothing would surprise me at this point, because, you know, I was looking over the last 13 games. They're 3-10 essentially, those 13 games, and they've tried all kinds of different line combinations and strategic stuff. They've tried trapping, they've tried soft trap, they've tried aggressive forecheck, and nothing seems to be working. And really, there's 6 guys who've stood out to me those 16 games, those 13 games. Frankie DeAngelis has 14 points and he's even. Chris Francis has 9 points and he's -3. Kaylee Schrock's got 8 points and he's -7. Sean O'Connor's got 7 points and he's -2. Brandon Warner's got 6 points and he's even. You know what? You're not scoring. At least play good defense. Yeah. You know that. You know, that's effort. That's all it is effort. And those 6 guys, Leo's got 10 points and he's -2. He's been playing good defense. The rest of them, nobody's been doing anything. I mean, they're not scoring and they're not playing defense. They're not hustling. I think you could see any of the rest of them make some changes and go. And it's like, what choice have they given you? I mean, they just aren't playing. I mean, and I don't blame the goalies. I see the goalies have been struggling the last few games because the defense is playing terrible and they're trying to create things happen and help out the defense, so they're probably trying to do a little bit too much. I'll take that. You know, I mean, that's effort. I will take that.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of those numbers. I know, out of those numbers, what, other than things that you've already mentioned, what are some of the things that surprise you? Because I know Bobby's numbers are down this year, and we kind of expected him to take, you know, at the end of last year, we saw him get better. We saw his offense improve a little bit. We expected him to take another step, but his numbers are not where I'm sure he would like.
I look at a guy like Bobby. Bobby's got 3 points and he's -11. Bobby's not an offensive guy. His only job is to keep the puck out of the net, and he hasn't been able to do that right now. Keith Roger, not an offensive guy again. Keep the puck out of the net. He's -7. It's just Curado, 6 points, he's -9. You know, he was known as a defensive center when he first came here. He won faceoffs, and he's done that a little bit. But it's like, if you're not getting it done at the other end, get it done at neutral ice, get it done in the defensive zone, and they're just not. And it's just crazy. Tab Lardner's got 1 point in 5 games, and he's -3. He's getting a lot of penalty minutes this weekend, too. You know, Guy's got 1 point in 13 games, and I think his point came in the first of the 13 games. He's -5. It's just, you're not able to do it at one end, then by gosh, put the effort in at the other end. It's just strictly effort, and you got to concentrate on that. You know, it really is somewhat basic. If you're not getting it done at the one end, just concentrate on the other end. I mean, if they got to win a game 1-0, then come out and try to win the game 1-0. I mean, if you got to go to a shootout 0-0, right now, take it to a shootout 0-0.
And one of the things that is kind of disturbing to me, trend-wise, is, last year at the beginning, Komets got off to a little bit of a slow start, but there were so many little injuries and big injuries alike. This year, this is a relatively healthy team. I mean, Sescon gets a concussion over the weekend. That's pretty much all that we can talk about when it comes to injuries.
Yeah, and Sescon thinks he'll be able to go Friday in Quad City. Danko and Petrasso are both hoping they're going to ride the bike tomorrow, and they hope to be able to go Friday. And part of that's where you're going to make some moves. You're going to have to get rid of some guys to open up some spots for them. Maybe at this point you sit some guys, you hide them on the IR if you want to try to get them motivated. It's so bizarre, Glenn. I was looking at these statistics. In one-goal decisions, the Komets are 1-5. I mean, again, that's defensive effort. When they've scored first, they're 0-4. This is all mental effort type mistakes. And they are not a trapping team, and I don't know why they keep trying to play the trap. Maybe it's because they're on the road and they think that's going to work, but it's pretty obvious that has not worked. I mean, that's got to be some coaching criticism too. They've got to try some different things because the trap is not working.
Yeah, and I mentioned a disturbing trend about how healthy they are, but still struggling. Another thing is you take a look at the teams that they're playing this year, the Quad Cities and the Daytons. Yes, they're in a new league, but these are essentially these are the same franchises with essentially the same rosters. You're talking about they dominated Dayton last year. They handled Quad City no problem,
Bloomington.
Even in QC. Yeah. Bloomington's another example. Why are they having so much more trouble with them this year in the CHL when really there's not that much of a difference?
I tell you what, those teams have different coaches except for Quad City, but it's all mental. I mean, Quad City got creamed Friday or Saturday night. They said it was their worst game that they played under Coach Frank Anzalone, and they come back the next day and beat the Komets 6-3, and it was 6-1, and they scored 6 straight goals. I mean, it's mental. It has to be part of it has to be mental, and that's got to go to the coach too. I mean, it's his job to get them going mentally. Try something. Try anything. They've got to gas some guys. They've got to, just to try to shake that up, they've got to try that. And at this point, what have you got to lose? Because nothing else is working.
Yeah, 5 straight losses. 2 games this week, 1 on the road. That's Friday at QC, and then a home game against Dayton on Saturday night. Heading into this week, what are you looking for in those 2 games? If say you're the Frankies and you're running this team, what are you looking for? And if you're Coach Al Sims, what also are you looking for?
Well, I think it's too late. I think it's too late to go looking for things like that. I think you've got to make roster moves. You've got to shake things up that way. You've got to change the lines again. You've got to try something. This just keep going with the same strategy is not working. I want to see. I told PC last week, I said, he hadn't had no shots. He's just not getting any shots. He got the goal yesterday finally. I said, what if you and Leo and Curto went out your first shift and everybody forechecked? Or everybody fired shots. They're averaging about 6 shots a game between the 3 of them. They ought to be averaging 15 shots a game. Just go out and start firing. What do you got to lose at this point? Shake it up that way. They got to learn to shake it up amongst themselves, too, and be aggressive. I mean, that's on them. They've got to be more aggressive. Just go out and start firing. I cannot. The thing I noticed this weekend is I cannot believe how many times the shots were getting blocked out front. And it's like the defensemen are out shooting the forwards at this point. That is insane. That's on the forwards. That's not on the defensemen. That's on the forwards. They got to shake things up themselves and try something new.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add for this week? Because I know
nothing more to add.
I know. I feel like we're just banging on them, and I'm like trying to draw the positives out, Blake.
There just isn't anything other than those 6 guys that we talked about. Frankie, Leo, Francis, Schrock, O'Connor, and Warner. I mean, and Legault is doing his job. He's doing exactly what they ask him to do. Those 7 guys, they're the only ones that are doing anything right now.
All right, so it could be a very interesting next week, or this week, I guess is what you're saying, on the waiver wire. We got to keep an eye out for some moves, is what you essentially, in a nutshell, are saying?
Yeah, I mean, what else they got to try?
All right. It should be a very interesting week then for Komets fans. We'll keep you updated on Wayne.com and, of course, Komets blog, Tailing the Komets. Blake will have up-to-the-minute information on his blog. We got a special guest.
It's going to be a busy week.
Yeah, it should be. We got a very special guest coming up here in just a second.